Hi, and welcome to today's episode of Budgeting for Financial Freedom. Today, I wanted to present two special guests that we have, and also a very special guest, my husband. Well, not guest, co-host. This is my husband, Philip Goode, and he's going to be here helping me today with this podcast. Again, my name is Tamica Goode, and I'm the host. And you know that my passion is to teach women of color financial literacy, and a lot of times that then goes down to our children, which is our focus for today. We think it's very important that not only do the adults in our community learn about financial literacy, but then we share that with our children so that they can build a legacy of wealth, and then they can share it with their children, and each generation gets better and better with time. So today we have two special guests, like I said. They have created a course that combines things that kids love, sports, with the fact that they can learn how to be financially educated through sports. And so we are very excited to have them with us today. And I have my husband here because he actually went to school with one of the creators of this course, as well as he is an avid lover of basketball. And he works with children who come from different families and different backgrounds who don't always have that financial education in their homes. And this is a great way to pair those two together and teach the future generation. So I'm going to turn it over to Philip and let him introduce our guest for today.
Hi, I'm Philip. I'm the husband of your wonderful, beautiful host, Tamica. I have been
He wants something.
Telling the truth. All right. Like you said, I have been a physical education teacher for over 20 years. I've been in different settings. I've taught elementary PE. I've taught middle school PE, coached middle school baseball. I've been in high school, and presently I'm at an alternative school, and that is where I see the need the most for like financial literacy and just basic financial education. Um, and the way that I really got into like being like financial, wanted to be financially literate is like being married to an accountant. You learn a lot about finances, and also we have 5 beautiful children together. And just trying to budget all that goes in a large household has helped us become more financially literate and need to want to be financially independent. Um, but I'm going to go into, we have two wonderful guests today. They have found a way to merge sports and financial literacy into a special, wonderful program that makes learning about financial literacy not only fun, but also enticing to want to know more. Okay, they have bridged the gap between sports and financial literacy into one wonderful program. They're going to tell you more about the wonderful program later on right now, but I'm going to give a really small spiel about each of these two, and they will tell more about themselves as we go on. I'm excited to introduce Sean Gibe and Ransford Dory. Just a little bit about Sean. Sean is a graduate of Syracuse University. There is where he kind of created that passion about wanting to be about financial literacy and wanted to teach others about financial literacy. He graduated with a BS in finance from there, and he also worked on Wall Street, which is huge. Okay, so he actually knows what he's talking about. So if you really want to know about financial literacy, this could be your perfect point. A little bit about Ransford, like Tamica said, Ransford and I actually went to the same college together, which is Longwood College. It was Longwood College then. Everybody calls it Longwood University now.
Right.
A little about Ransford. He has been in the Los Angeles United School District school system for over 20 years. He didn't really put this in his bio, but also, I'm just going to say a little bit. If you've seen TV and movies, you may have seen his face there also. Yeah. He's really modest and may not want to say anything about that, but he is the teacher behind the curriculum, so he's going to tell you more about that part also. So together, Sean and Ransford have really combined to make a great program that I want them to tell you more about. Okay.
Yay! We're so excited to hear about this, you guys. I think this is great. Also, the fact that African American men are spearheading this. I think kids are going to be looking up to you because you look like them and you're sharing this information with them, as well as you're coupling with something that they will really enjoy. So we're going to turn it forward to you to hear about your product, your background, and we can take it from there.
All right, excellent. Well, we're very happy to be here with you two and also your audience. First, I'll just tell you a little bit about my background, and then Ransford can speak for himself. But for me, I spent my childhood and formative years in Northern Virginia, mostly Centerville, Virginia. So I grew up in a neighborhood where there was 7 boys. We're all in the same grade and of the same age. And where the bus would pick us up from elementary, middle, and high school, there was 2 4-court basketball courts. So since 8 years old, we've been playing basketball, and that's where my love for basketball came. And choosing Syracuse University, basketball was one of the key components. So it was my sophomore year when we won the national championship, or Carmelo Anthony and the team won the national championship. And while at Syracuse, I was a Ronald E. McNair Achievement Scholar, as well as a member of Alpha Phi Omega, which is the national service fraternity. As you mentioned, after graduating with my BS in finance, I worked on Wall Street as a commodity broker. And if you ever seen the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, that's what a commodity broker does in terms of trading stuff like orange juice, oil, gold, things like that. And then it was in 2014 when I wrote the book, Winning at the Money Game, combining finance and financial literacy together. And then since Ransford, yeah, exactly. And since I knew Ransford through a mutual friend and I knew he worked in the school system, I sent the book over to him. He really enjoyed it and started building a curriculum over within the book. And that's how we got this product now that we're sharing with, you and the rest of the world. So Ransford.
Yes. Okay. Shout out to you, Sean, Tamica, Phil. Thank y'all. Appreciate it once again. How I got this started again. I went to Longwood University. I'm from Northern Virginia area, born in DC. Fraternal twin. I'm older by 9 minutes. We need to get that out there. But what's beautiful about this, yes, I came out, Philip, and everybody know that I came out to LA to be an actor. But then, sometimes with the acting business, you look at the financial side of things where it's not going so well. So that's how I got into, first it was substitute teaching, then I became a full-time teacher and got my master's in special education. So Sean says, Ransford, yo, I got this book. And I was like, what is it? He's like, learning financial literacy through the game of basketball. And I'm like, what? So I'm gonna tell you how it connects later on, but when he did that, I was like, yo, this, but he just had the book. So I said, okay, let's take this to another level. And that's when we became business partners and said, let's create a curriculum, because it's not only, once again, I'm created a curriculum, but as a teacher, you can't give these advice to these students and not live it yourself. Yeah. You can't just talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk. So with this combination of just basketball and financial literacy, putting it together, I live this life, and it's not only helped me with my teaching and how I communicate certain things to my students, but once again, I live it and practice it. So again, that's my whole start in with financial literacy and winning at the money game. And we're gonna explain more as we go through, because I don't wanna, spill the beans just yet.
So could you tell us a little bit about how it works?
Yeah, so with the concept, the idea for winning at the money game came to me my junior year at Syracuse University. We have Archibald Center where we go and play basketball. And then I would go to Whitman, which is the business school. So the constant back and forth of playing basketball every day, and going to business school really got my mind going. And it was my, like I mentioned before, junior year where I came up with it was chapter 2, which talks about savings and investing, comparing the free throws. But it wasn't until I was on Wall Street where I was able to complete the entire idea. But what we're trying to do is, or what we have done is taken what kids already love and know a lot about, which is sports, specifically basketball, to teach them something they may not know about, which is financial literacy, which is budgeting, money management, and investing. So we're using the basketball concepts to teach financial literacy. And the reason why this is effective is because it makes the information more concrete. It also provides a structural framework for learning. So the kids can learn within the game of basketball. They can see when someone makes a pass, they can be like, okay, so within our book, passing is passing on financial literacy, which is reading. We're big advocates of reading. So they'll see if a pass is made, oh, am I reading a new book? Am I improving my financial literacy? Am I passing on knowledge to my friends, family members, things like that? Yeah. If there's a rebound that's been gathered, they can also be like, okay, am I boxing out financial opponents from taking my money, things like that? So that's the structural framework. And also our program also motivates the reader, because as you know, having kids, if they find something they're very passionate about, they're all about it. They want to know everything about it. They know all the athletes, all the teams, things like that. So the readers are motivated, and then it helps to overcome any misconceptions that happens when people are talking about money, which, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions out there. And then the key thing is also gives way to a visualization of the abstract concepts. Because if you're telling a 10-year-old kid, hey, you need to save and invest your money, they really may not understand that because they're getting money from mom and dad. They
Right.
don't have a job. So they don't understand that concept of why it's important to save and invest. But if you compare it to shooting free throws, which is something that's simple, but it's not easy. And as we know, many games are won or lost on the free throw line, and many people sit on the bench or not in the money game because they're not saving and investing their money. So that's what the concept of the book is. And then Ransford took that and just made magic in terms of creating a curriculum. And he'll tell you more about that.
Now, you see how I said that? Yeah, we broke it down where it's like magic. But again, it's the magic he told me that said, all right, Ransford, I was struggling financially. And everybody will see all the TV show credits, but I always tell actors, like, your credits will be this much, but your bank account gonna be this much, and they don't do that. So he got me on this. I'm not gonna lie. He was like, yo, I got this book, like I said before, it teaches, financial literacy through the game of basketball. I was like, hold on. So you just got the book? He's like, yeah. I was like, what's this? Tell me more about this, because as teachers, we gotta make sure we vet what we're bringing to the kids. So he was like, all right, Ransford, are you a triple threat on the basketball court? Now, Phil, we ain't gotta tell the truth now. Listen, because Phil, he'll break your ankles. Okay, Chris Jackson, out there, everybody know who the basketball, who the hoopers were. But triple threat is, I was like, yeah, I'm a triple threat on the basketball. I could shoot, I could pass the ball, I could drop to the basket. Then he hit me hard. And you're gonna see he got the serious face. He says, are you a triple threat in your financial matters?
Exactly.
You see how quiet I got? You hear critics in the background. I was like, okay, hold on. What you mean triple threat in my financial matters? He was like, okay, your 9-to-5 job is your jump shot. You got a jump shot? I was like, I got 3-4 jump shots, bro. I got, the acting. I'm a teacher. Print work. I got tons of jump shots. He's like, okay, cool. Okay, you good? He's like, okay, Ransford, I got one more thing. How about this? Passing the ball. Do you save? Oh, I got quiet real quick. How's your investing in stocks? How's you got different types of retirement accounts? You see how quiet it got again? Real quiet. I was like, oh, well, yeah. So he's like, basically, Ransford, you're not passing the ball. So you got a jump shot, but you don't pass the ball, or you pass very little. He was like, okay, driving to the basket now is residual income. Now, as an actor, we do get residuals from TV shows. I did buy a rental property, but things weren't working out well in that rental property. And the residuals, we tell actors, it starts to decrease. I was like, ooh, my residuals is not looking good. So he said, okay, let me get this straight. You got a jumper, you barely pass the ball, and you really don't drive to the basket. Should an NBA coach, high school coach, let you play in a game? And I love how Phil's looking at me like, no, you're not playing. But then he hit me up with one last one to just let it sink in. He was like, how's your credit card situation?
That's a big one.
Yeah, I was $35,000 in credit card debt because I bought that rental property with friends where the credit was good at the time, but the money, it was terrible. So I used the credit card to bail me out of this rental property, $35,000 in credit card debt. He went, okay, Ransford, you sitting on the bench. You sitting on the bench in life, basically, because you're watching everybody else play. You're not really a triple threat when it comes to your financial matters. Right. And when he said it like that, I was like, okay, you see, it's again, right? It's too hard because then you go, man, that's where I'm at. I'm fraud. So I said, before we do this, once creating lessons or like, this is how I'm going to engage it with this. Then it was like, okay, live it. And yes, I am living proof of a triple threat now. Yes, I'm out of credit card debt. Yes,
Oh, that's wonderful.
I have my saving. And yes, I bought property with a friend, a rental property with a friend just recently. So it's been a blessing. You know, it's changed my life. But then once again, it's not only how I live it. Wait till we talk about how it impacts the kids. When we've seen it with our own eyes. So we're gonna talk on more. So that's why it was like, we had that connection of this is what we're gonna create. This is where we wanna change, where he brought up reading, especially literacy. Summer slide. During the summertime, as teachers, we're like, can kids do some reading? They're not doing that. So that's why we implemented and made sure, we wanna make sure we are supporting all the awesome programs that are already there. It's just, we're adding value now. This is what we're bringing to the table to support y'all. We're not taking nothing away.
Right. And I love how you went through and talked about the fact that you learned that over time. Because one thing that we always discuss is that we weren't taught a lot of this money management and this financial education as children. And a lot of that is because it was taboo to talk about those things in our communities because of, you know, prior generations and all of the turmoil we had to go through and the struggles we had to go through. So we were taught, don't tell other people your business. And that kind of transformed into, don't even talk about it to your kids. And so as kids start to grow up, they don't learn about that money management. They don't learn about rental properties. They don't learn about ownership. And a lot of times, I know for me, when I was younger, I thought having a credit card was the best thing ever because I could go out and, you know, look the part and, you know, show my friends what I was wearing. And then when those bills started coming in and that interest rate was doubling my purchases, I realized that I was getting in trouble. So at what point did you realize that financial education or the lack of financial education was an issue amongst kids in the community?
Yeah, Tamica, you bring up a great point. I think the thing is, in school, we learn math, English, science, history, but a graduating senior is never going to hear the word like FICO, compound interest, and also like saving and investing. So until they make their way into our modern world or until they get a job, now they're faced with all these things they've never seen before and concepts they've never even seen or heard about. So what winning a money game is all about is for elementary, middle, and high school students to take that passion. As you mentioned, we live in a society where we're constantly talking about sports. ESPN, Stephen A. Smith, those guys build careers and are multimillionaires because they engage the public in conversations pertaining to all types of sports. So we're trying to take the conversations we normally have about sports and push those conversations to financial literacy, to understanding about credit, because credit is a tool. Some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. It depends on how you use it. We take it as the most important fundamental because credit affects your lives throughout. As you mentioned, with the interest rate on your credit card, interest rates on your car, interest rates for college, buying a home, all those things like that. Credit is very important. Even starting a business, there's nothing wrong with starting a business on credit, but if you understand how that works, you can make better decisions. Just like a player that is more skilled on the basketball court, you know, when you look at the NBA, all those guys are skilled, athletic, tall. So what separates the best players is in terms of decision making. And that's what comes down to acquiring various skills. So we always saw this need, as you mentioned, that was in the community, but we wanted a way that's going to make it fun, engaging, and empowering, life-changing, to start with kids early so they can, you know, build those skills before they make their way into our modern, you know, financial world, and also to create generational wealth and, you know, to build up our society and our community as well.
Yeah.
And to add on to that, I saw what I see the lack of interest. Kids are bored. Then you bring up finance, it's like, man, this is boring. I don't like talking about this. So you gotta, you know, when you get that medicine, if it's you know, covered in ice cream, then it's like you didn't know you were taking medicine. So the beautiful thing with this basketball, it's like, oh, whoa, okay, this is fun. I didn't know that, oh, that does make sense. Yo, I never thought about it like that. So now look at our vocabulary words our students start saying. You know, interest rates, stock tips, you know, mutual funds. They're saying vocabulary word that when you see kids saying it, you're like, ooh, and then they raise their hand because you got them where they're like, ooh, 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 you got to invest your time or spend your time. Love it when you see 8-year-olds eager to talk about that. So that's the thing where also we need engagement. And this is the best way where it's like we keep them engaged while teaching something where it's like, oh, so it's all connected.
I just can't wait for people to be able to get their hands on this and to be able to use it. Ransford, do you mind showing us a quick demo of how everything works?
No problem at all. No problem at all. Okay, here we go. Then it says host disabled participant screen share. I'm just waiting for that. Whenever you're ready.
How about now?
Now we're good. Love it. Perfect. Okay. All right, folks, let me give you the heads up. Make sure we got the audio squared away. Okay, here we are, folks, fans out there, guests, everybody take a look. We got here is our website, which is WATMGnow.com. So what we do have, like we said, we do have a free ebook that comes with our program. And just to give you an idea of what that ebook looks like, hopefully you can see this screen right here. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yes, free ebook right now that started this all, that Sean G. Bay wrote. So that's a free ebook that comes along with it, as well as 36-page book that breaks down different things such as we talk about the introduction, the basics, free throws, passing, boxing out, following through, and there's a fun story called The Squad. So again, we want to take it to the next level just to introduce you. We got words of inspiration, and you're going to learn a little bit and summary too as well. Great vocabulary words that our kids can learn and utilize in their lives after reading this. Next, so we have the ebook. They go to our website is what they can get, and they also can log in. When they log in, this is what they're going to get. The course player. With the course player, this is what's so beautiful about it. It gives you a tutorial. For each section, we set it up where there is a tutorial. So you click on the link.
Follow along in order to learn how to navigate this course.
Okay, we set it up where we want to make sure before we have the kids starting to do the information, we make sure we want to explain what they're going to expect of the course. And then we set it up there. Each chapter that we go, we have 5 different chapters, but under each chapter, there are several activities. As you can see, when I click this on, we have an introduction. Again, we give them a tutorial of what the whole course is about. We then have an introduction of each chapter. So when we go through that introduction, we play a nice little short video that explains.
Module 1, the basics. First, we start with the
so yes, we do talk about your credit score and introduce that to the students. But then the beautiful thing is, the blessing about COVID is it forced teachers in the academic field. I'm going to focus only on academics at this time. We were forced to do online learning. So we set it up where we not only have the 2 workbooks that you showcased right there, the teacher's guide and the student guide, but we set it up, what about for if you're homeschooling and if you're at home, that's why we created this online curriculum. And what we set it up, we noticed when we were doing the online curriculum, students, especially who are doing classes online, even our college students are struggling when there's so much information coming at them on the screen. So a lot of kids would tune out. So through my 20 years of practice, I learned that with our students, sometimes there's something called chunk tasking. I'm a fan of chunk tasking. It's like a Big Mac. Some kids you can't force with the whole Big Mac. You gotta chunk it into little pieces. So what we set it up, we not only have the chapter introduction, but we broke it down where when you get introduced to the chapter, we have the short version of each chapter where we tell the whole story, but we make sure it's like, we're not gonna give it all to you at once, students. And we make sure we got 3 different learning styles. For example, with the 3 different learning styles, we have kids who are good at auditory, who are visual, and kinesthetic. The beautiful thing about the auditory learners, some of our auditory learners need to hear the story. That's how they learn. So I set up an audio version as well.
Winning at the money game, your financial playbook to success. The basics. Success
All right, that was the audio version that we have. What's so beautiful, the audio version, you can read along for our kids who are struggling readers, who are trying to figure out, like, I'm not good with certain words. So they're reading along with them. So that's developing their reading muscles. Again, we want that summer reading slide, or at any time during the academic year, it's like, I'm working on vocabulary. I'm going to read along. Okay. And so what's beautiful, we have part one, but we set it up that this is the first part we want you to go over, students. Once you go over it, we say, okay, great. But there's some students who like, I hear the version, I can hear it auditorily, but I'm a visual learner. I like seeing pictures. So what we set up right here is a video version of that particular same section that we went over. So I'm going to hit the play button real quick. We set it up where students.
That works, no matter the opponent, are the fundamentals. Why do you think players from the NBA to high school spend hours consistently practicing and reviewing the fundamentals? It's because they are important in becoming successful.
So again, you see, we have the audio version. Kids can see the words to the text as well, but then you got the video version of the same exact information. So you got it coming to students 3 different ways where they're like, okay, I'm seeing this, I'm getting the whole picture, but we're not done. We then set it up where students, after that section you went over, we got to check for understanding, because you can give them the information, but we got to make sure, did you understand the material that you were given? And what I love is you can see at the top, there's a path of letting students know their progress. Because with our students, they want to see that, am I getting somewhere? Is this all sinking in? Where am I at? Where am I at in this journey? So what's so beautiful, we then have a game-winning quiz that we give the students that is only of that chapter that you went over. I know some students don't like to get that surprise quiz where it's like, oh, I'm going to try to trip you up. We're not here to compete with the students. We're here to help the students to make sure they are understanding the material. So we set it up where the students get to type in their name. I'm just give a quick example right here. I'm typing in my name, Doherty, and what's so beautiful, you get to, a certificate is going to print out once you finish, and this is what we love. When parents do this who are into homeschooling, sometimes they're like, I want to see what the student can do independently. That's another thing how we set it up, that everything's timed and it lets you know, let me know how am I doing independently when I'm doing my work by myself. So we set it up where students can navigate this with LearnWorlds through our online curriculum. And what's so beautiful, we set up, here's the questions. We're going to give them 4 questions for that first section. We're not going to inundate them because it's like, we want you to make sure you demonstrate your understanding. So for example, the kids answer the question in the money game. You will face a variety of situations, and the only concept that works, no matter the opponent or the what, we know it's the fundamentals. So I'm not going to give away all the answers now, because some of y'all be like, oh, I got chapter 1 done, I'm good. He gave me all the answers right here. But we're going to go through some of the things. Here's another one. The first step in getting off the bench and into the money game is mastering the most important fundamental, and we did say credit. So I'm going to go over some of these other questions, and you're going to see what happens when you finish your work. You then submit your assignment. What I love is when you submit your assignment, you will get a score and you get to print out your certificate. Yes, I'm going to say it again. You get to print out your certificate and show evidence. Mom, Dad, I finished my work. And if you don't like it, you get a chance to retake the test 3 times to show evidence. So once again, it's going to print my certificate and it's going to give evidence of when I do it. As you can see right here, I don't know if this should pop up on the screen. Here we go. I have my name. I got winning at the money game. I get my certificate right there and the date so parents can see, look what I did. Okay, so that's the beautiful thing about how we set this up. There are chapters that the kids go through, but I know we're not done. There's more. I know it sounds like an infomercial, but I'm keeping it real because there's the academic side, but we're all still keeping it where it's like, we still keep the fun in basketball. Yes, you got great learning, but guess what? We got crossword puzzles that, again, we give a tutorial that explains what the crossword puzzles that the kids are going to be doing. And as you can see,
you can grab any item.
Okay, and the reason why I'm picking this style where I got visual, auditory, the kinesthetic where the kids can play some games too as well. We got some other things from the workbook as well for the kinesthetic learners. All of this is about keeping engagement, and they're still going over the same vocabulary words that they learned for each chapter. So we're making sure when you go through a crossword puzzle right here that the students have, it will show you like, oh, I'm still using the same vocabulary words I learned in that first section that I went over. So we make sure this is great for, again, homeschooling, after school programs at school. And then what the students do, again, they click on a certain word and they answer the question right there. So we got crossword puzzles, we got word search, we got memory matching. And then at the end, when we finish, there is, yes, when we go through all the chapters, there's another final exam. Yes, so we got games for each little section, and then we go on to move on to the chapters. So, and then what's done, there's something called the MVP. These are all our great chapters you can take a look at. Kobe Bryant scored 81 points. And for the final exam, when you go through all the chapters, there are 81 questions from the course that the student can demonstrate. Look, I'm gonna be an MVP, mom, dad, look what I did. Teacher, look what I did. And again, you've reinforced financial education, the financial literacy. And again, that's why we want to change the concept. When we look at basketball courts, you're not, or basketball camps, I should say, when you go to basketball camp with this type of program, you're implementing not only great skills with the basketball, but it's like, oh, during lunch, we're gonna learn some financial literacy. You're gonna walk away with a book, not just a t-shirt, not just a water bottle and a basketball. You're gonna leave with a great understanding of now financial education. So we're taking it to another level. But guess what, folks? There's more. I know you like, stop it. Stop it. There's more. What this all came down to, again, we have the online information. I'm going to stop sharing the screen right here. But we then have the workbooks. In the workbook that got this all started, yes, he gave me Winning at the Money Game. Sean wrote that awesome book. But then a game popped in my head. Again, keeping everything engaged. We created, yes, Winning at the Money Game basketball. So in the back of the book, and I also set it up for teachers. We also have the teacher's guide as well. Yes, there are assessments. Yes, when the teachers have assessments, you have a rubric that breaks everything down on what type of score I'm going to give the student. Okay, exactly. I told you what I saw in elementary, middle, and high school. I'm using my 20 years of experience to let you know, like, teachers are going to be like, so I can assess the students right here while I'm walking around, or you have the online version as well. But like I said, there's more, because at the end, we set it up where we got letters the students can write. Yes, we want our students to say, I'm going to demonstrate how I know this. How? I'm going to write a letter where I give advice to someone. The person's name is Dr. I Got Money Problems. And how do you help me with my credit? And everything you learn in that chapter, you're going to write that letter back. You also got comic books that students can write. You got some situation for poetry. We got, again, test assessments that's going to set them up. But again, it goes back, why are the kids learning all this? Because at the end, we have the Winning at the Money Game. Here we go. Winning at the Money Game basketball game. What it is you have cards with all the data that the kids were given, all the information that they learned. Correct? Wow. It's they're going to answer the questions on the card. And what's so happen when they answer questions on the card, here is what's so beautiful. You got a hoop and rim that the kids put together. Yes. So our kinesthetic learner is going to build their own basketball rim. I know y'all remember paper basketball. Can and a piece of crushed up paper. You could be like, you're laughing, but that brings out the kid. And that's why I said, when you see kids getting excited about you, not only, here's the beautiful thing. I know what also I learned as a teacher. When you have all this great stuff that you bought, all this expensive stuff, you bought this cube and you bought this square, and now where you got to put it. But what I set it up, everything is on paper. So we are helping the environment. You kids cut this out and guess what they create? A basketball hoop and a rim. So nothing is used as waste. And then what's so beautiful, when I'm finished, watch what happens. When I'm finished,
throw it away.
I can throw it away. No evidence.
Recycle.
That's where it's like, where the kids like, clean up. Yes, recycling. So as you can see, I had the teacher's mind at heart. I had the student's mind at heart. We got different ways where we got all the students. We're putting everything together in a way where we want to change the game on. We want basketball camps to change. You know, the way what they're implementing. We love what they're doing. We just want to add, we want to support where it's like, we're going to keep you engaged. PE teachers. And we also have something called link learning. So there's that math teacher, English teacher, everybody's getting everything together where it's like, yo, my students working on reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Reading, listening, and speaking. So I put my 20 years of education, my master's in special education to use. So
that is amazing. Yeah, just with us having 5 kids, even though they have like our shared DNA, they all learn differently. So I like the fact that you have 3 different ways for them to learn the same thing, because we can tell each one of our kids the same set of instructions and all 5 of them will go out and do something different because they only do or hear what they want to hear, which is amazing. And I think one other thing that is really great about this program is geared towards kids, but I guarantee you some parents are going to learn from this too, because some of the words that you mentioned, I didn't hear until I was graduated from college and, in the real working world, talking to my friends about their investment strategies and their financial strategies. So I think that's wonderful. There are lots of, like you said, in schools, they teach everything but financial literacy. A lot of times you do have some volunteer organizations that come in and try to teach that, but all schools aren't getting that. So if anyone from schools are listening to this podcast, I would implore you to go to this link and present this to your school, present it to the school board, and get this in the communities, because in the long run, this is going to help your community when you have financially literate and financially educated individuals in your community. So this is a great idea. I love it. I think the fact that you have a teacher's guide is amazing, because I think that sometimes if an adult doesn't understand some of these terms that they're trying to teach, they may shy away from teaching that in the community. So this is not giving them any way to get out of it through any type of excuse, and it's amazing. I think you have a question, one guy. Go ahead, Sean.
Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, just one thing to add, as you guys can see how comprehensive the program is, and it was a godsend for me to send it to Ransford. As I mentioned, I knew him through a mutual friend, but what he has put into this program to take it to the next level is just going to be so helpful. But this program works. It works all the time. We've done it with over 200 kids. We've done basketball camps. We work with after school programs, a variety of different organizations. And every time the parents are just enthusiastic. They can't understand how easily their kids get the material, and how another key component to our program, I think that no one else has, is once the kid goes through this program, either through the workbook or the online course, anytime they watch basketball, all these behaviors and principles for financial education is reinforced. When you watch the NBA finals, you watch the WNBA finals, you watch the Olympic basketball, all the passing, I got to read. Boxing out, box out the financial opponents. Shooting or follow through, I got to break my goals down so I can be able to achieve them. So everything is just reinforced. So this is a life-changing program, and it's really something that all the things you weren't taught in school about finance and money management, we're teaching it to your kids in a way that they're going to understand. And as you mentioned, once they get this understanding, they'll be able to not only impact their lives, their family lives, but their community lives. And that's really one of the key things.
And one thing I was thinking about when Ransford was going through the program, an incentive to get my kids to do this is every time they finish the chapter and do well on their quiz, I can give them money, and then they have to tell me how they're going to save it, how they're going to invest it, and then how they're going to spend it, or like budget it out. So I'm already thinking through how I'm going to get them engaged beyond, they love sports, but if they get an incentive at the end, but then you give them a task on what they need to do with that money, they can then apply what they've learned to that incentive that we're going to give them. So I think that is just wonderful.
Exactly. And I love that you shared that, because what I love is we have this idea of, a lot of students may say, when I get to the NBA, I want to make this amount of money. But we realize it's not about how much money you make, it's what you do with that money.
Exactly.
So we know this, the stats of a lot of students who don't make it to the NBA. We know there's only 1% who make it to the NBA or play college basketball. What do we do with that 99% that don't achieve success? What they're going to leave here was like, I may not be in the NBA, but I'm making NBA money.
Exactly.
That's whole different. You're coming in where I want to do ownership. I want to own property now. You're looking at different things that you're bringing where you're going, I was so focused on one avenue of how to succeed. But now these open our kids' minds where we want to give them options. We talk about decision making. So that, again, is what we want to make sure our students are leaving, where there's 400 million basketball fans every year, 400 million. Imagine the impact of 400 million kids. And we even double that because families have more than 5, right? You look at that where it's like the numbers and what that can do to the world.
Absolutely. So where do you see the future of this, of your course going? I know now you have it geared towards basketball. Do you have any thoughts about where you could expand this, or how you can expand this to other sports or other activities?
Yeah, as I said before, growing up in Northern Virginia, Centerville, I've been playing basketball since 8-year-old, and I also played varsity basketball. Going to Syracuse was a basketball was a main reason for choosing the university. But the key thing that I think people should get from our program is that, especially from the cover, basketball is a sport that's played internationally and a sport that's played both by boys and girls. That means it has a global reach, but in terms of growth, we also see that going into soccer. So getting ahead of, just for me, I'm a writer, a reader, so I like to get ahead of what's going to come. So we already have the soccer edition done, and soccer being a bigger sport than basketball, we're going to release this probably in a couple years or so, but we want to definitely focus on basketball. In the next book, volume 2, we go over, a variety of different things. There's a lot of situations that you're going to face in basketball. Dealing with the referees is something I talk about in terms of a SWOT analysis, looking at your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Also, being in the zone, positive self-talk. Anyone who's played sports and when they're in the zone is always speaking positively to themselves. You're never going to be like, oh, I'm going to miss this shot and you're scoring 40 points. No one thinks that, So we're talking about sports psychology in the next volume. We're also talking about the triple threat, as Ransford mentioned. A key thing that people need to understand, when you get the basketball, coaches always tell you get in a triple threat because you can dribble, pass, and shoot. But as Ransford said before in his story when he was telling you, you got 3 types of income. You have earned income where you're paid. It may be a salary or an hourly wage. You got portfolio income, which is if you have stocks and things like that, mutual funds. And then you also have passive income from rental properties, royalties, for actors and stuff. But if a kid at 8 years old can understand, hey, triple threat is important in basketball because it makes me unguardable, but also having those 3 types of income in my financial matters is going to make me unguardable. So at 8 years old, if you already know I need to get passive income, portfolio income, and earned income, by the time 10 years later, by the time you're 18, your decision making will be so much better and you'll be able to actually achieve your goals. As Ransford said, only 1% of high school seniors make it to college basketball, and only 1% of college basketball players make it to NBA. But that doesn't mean you can't make that type of money to help your life, help your family's life, and your community life. So I'm so proud of what we've created to give back to our community because basketball has given me so much. I love the sport with all my heart. And also my time working on Wall Street really showed me that there's so much money out there that if you really understand it, you can change your life and you can change your community life. So that's one of the key things we're all about. So NBA, WNBA, everybody, please come talk to us. We definitely want to work with you and take this thing as far as it can go and impact as many people as possible.
And we saw the impact when we tried it with the LAPD Watts Bears, which is now, we were there at the beginning, now they're the LAPD LA Rams, the LA Rams football team. So we're gonna go back and try to create that partnership again because they were our first, and shout out to them, LAPD, LA Rams. The little kids you're gonna see in the video, that's the thing. We have evidence. It's not just, oh, we're talking it. You can see online when I had my camera, when I just had a t-shirt and jeans going, all right. And what was so beautiful, I met one of the police officers on the set and we talked about, he's like, I got a program where I'm working with youth. I was like, I got something where I'm teaching financial literacy through basketball. He's like, I got young football athletes. Can you teach it? And that's where you see evidence of the kids like, oh, me. You have it at the middle school too, and with the high school students as well. So we have evidence, and that was key, to show evidence that this is not just talk. You watch me give the lesson, you watch the kids' excitement. So it's there.
Yeah, you definitely have the evidence, and I know I'm a little biased because I know you all, but I think this is like probably the greatest financial literacy program I've seen in a while. And I think we know we're definitely going to use it with our kids, and we want to make sure that people like on this podcast and this audience that you're reaching are able to get this information as well. So can you definitely give them exactly how they can reach you and access this information, and where can they go to get this information from?
Yeah, so they can go to WATMGNOW.com, which is winningatthemoneygame.now.com. So WATMGNOW.com. That's where they can download the free ebook as well as get access to the course and be able to take the online course. And then we also have the materials that we can partner up with school systems or after school programs, sororities, fraternities, things like that, because we're a complementary product to all those people that are doing good work, you know, throughout the world, throughout the United States. So if you are trying to teach financial literacy or give skills to kids that are going to help them for the rest of their lives, please reach out to us. And that is the best way of doing it, to going to our official website, WATMGNOW.com.
Thank you so much. And can you let parents know and anyone else who's interested in the program how much it costs?
Yeah, so the online program is $97. As I mentioned, you do get the free ebook. Now, if you want to get a workbook included, it's $117. But yeah, we have those two components. If someone just wants to do the online course itself, they have that ability. And then if they want to get the workbook, which I really encourage, that way you can really, you know, as you mentioned, work with your kids through it and actually do the program with them and play the game, you know, in the back of the book as well. But yeah, that's where you can find all the information at our official website.
And that is definitely a great price. I've looked through everything that you offer, and that is an amazing price for the amount of resources that you're providing. And this is something that's going to stick with kids through their lifetime. It's life-changing for them to go into adulthood already thinking about how they want to save money, how they want to invest money, and then making smart purchases is amazing. And for anyone who is listening to this podcast, in the show notes, I'm going to have links to all of their information as well. If you go to purchase, if you use the promo code BFF when you're checking out, you will receive 20% off, which is amazing. You cannot beat that price with the amount that you receive. I'm telling you, this is something that is definitely going to be life-changing for your children and as well as for yourself if you want to learn anything, you know, outside of what you already know. So Ransford, Sean, thank you so much for allowing us to present this on our podcast. And I hope when you create future products, you'll come back on and be a guest, and so that we can promote it, because I think this is amazing. And I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to do in the future.
Yeah, I'll just say something before Ransford, but we truly appreciate you just giving us this platform to not only speak to you and Phil, and also, you know, sharing this with your kids, but your viewers and listeners as well. It took us, like I said, I wrote the first book in 2014. Ransford helped create the curriculum, but we've been working on this for 7 years, and the product that Ransford just showed online, plus the workbook, is just something that works. It 100% works. It's life-changing, and it creates the conversation that's needed for people to take hold of their finance to be able to make better decisions for themselves, their community, and their family. So we truly are just very appreciative that you allowed us to speak with you today. And Ransford?
Yes, I first of all, thank you again. I second what Sean says. Very, very grateful. I'm not gonna lie, it shows you. I'm gonna get spiritual here, how God works. I'm not gonna lie, I left Longwood going, okay, I got my degree. But what we forget is we talk about the relationships, the networks, the people we are surrounded by in our lives, where you never know how you treat somebody, which is the different, we learned that we changed the definition of what winning is, where you make sure how you treat others, you know, you get it in return. But then how you treat others, the people you're surrounded by who are helping you, who are lifting you up in a way where you go through tough times, they got your back. So when he said 7 years, it makes you say, if he had not gone for his dream to say, there's something inside me, I got a story that I got to tell, how that can impact others. So that's why we're saying we're changing the game. I want once a year, April is Financial Literacy Month. I want to see when we used to go to Rutgers Park, there's the financial literacy basketball camps. I want to see financial literacy teams of kids going against where they're changing the game, where we're looking at basketball, where it's like, it's about teamwork and what we bring into the community again. So thank y'all so much for this opportunity.
One final note. The funny thing about it, through our mutual friend Ignacio, that's how I met Ransford. And the first place I met Ransford was on Venice Beach at the basketball court. We have a picture of this. There's no lie. We met on the basketball court because Ignacio was like, hey, I got this guy I want you to meet. And we played basketball on Venice Beach. We have the photo. That's the first place I met Ransford. So, you know, it's amazing how life works.
Absolutely.
And Ignacio's probably right now, he's on Ignacio Cerricho. He's on the show Lost in Space. And he's going to sit there and be like, you ain't going to mention my name. And then you got to give a shout out to Lost in Space. It's a great show, Ignacio Cerricho. Thank you. Shout out to you, brother, for just, again, and we did win.
Connection.
Sean was on my team, and we did win. Like, yo, Sean can play basketball. I'm
Put that out there, right?
I'm defense, but Sean, literally, I'm serious. Sean can play. Phil can play. So we all got a team right here. So we
might have to get together one day and play.
Exactly.
Yes. Let me get on my knee brace. My knee brace.
I know. I got a back brace.
Y'all are hilarious. Well, again, thank you guys. We really appreciate it, and best of luck to you and your organization and your product. I'm really excited about it, and let's absolutely stay in touch. Just make sure we get this out in our communities.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
So much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye now.